KapaaMatthias, the main man himself. How you doing today, my good sir?
Oh man, it is so cold in Canada that I tell you,
Is
I wear
it?
a sweater and a winter jacket, and I need another winter jacket on
You
top.
see, down
Yes, sir.
here, it hasn't snowed in the longest time. It snowed for like 10 minutes, like a week ago, and that's like all we've had for the last 3 years. And I'm in
Oh, fun.
Pennsylvania, and like the East Coast, it snows a lot, supposedly. It just
Yeah,
hasn't for the
yeah,
longest time.
yeah. Oh man, well it'll come in January. It'll come in
Yeah, unfortunately,
January.
I'd rather it come in December for Vlogmas that I'm shooting right now because I have a lot of ideas that involve the snow. But right
Yeah.
now, Mother Nature is dicking me over right now because I can't do any of that. That's why we had to build a whole set for Vlogmas. Is because we
You
couldn't
just
do anything
gotta
else.
you just gotta invest in the fake snow, man. You just gotta invest in
That is
those
very true.
loads of
That is very true.
artificial snow.
But it's been a long time since the two of us last spoke. I mean, I know we message each other once in a blue moon, but I mean, like face to face talking, it's been a very long time. I think the last time we did it, we were recording something. Because remember we were on a call and I was kind of filming. What was it? It was the Every Sunday series, the community catch up. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So what's been going on in that time between when we last spoke and now? Because I know you have something big to say, and I was gonna kind of dabble into a few different things, but realistically, I figured that's what the last podcast was to get to know you a lot more. So I figured this one can kind of be more or less strictly what you want to talk about and why we're kind of here today. So what's kind of been going on between the long gap?
So realistically, I think, and I just want to go verify before I want a timeline that does not exist. I think the last thing we genuinely posted, was Geeks doing the community catch up for week number 5. And I remember at that point in August, like I finally confronted my burnout. I finally just said, all right, like I am burnt out. I am like what is it called? The creative well. It is empty. Like I know you and I have had so many conversations over like the last year, like how we can get this going, how we can make it more enticing. So between now and then, man, it's honestly been I've just like went offline, so to speak. Like,
well, because I know like you had originally brought in me and a few other different creators into the FTI core of helping actually produce the content rather than just being a guest on the content. I know you put us in a big kind of Discord group chat. We would talk every once in a while, but I remember popping on and seeing the long text chain. I instantly knew, oh God, something's wrong. And I was busy, so I couldn't read it immediately. So I went the entire day like, oh, something's wrong. And then I got home and I read your message that you were going to be taking a step back. And I was like, wow, okay. I was a little nervous about what was going on.
Well, like realistically speaking, and I really want to emphasize out of all of this, like, I really want to emphasize, like, I feel like I just wasn't meeting expectations with the other half of it of my expectations were not being met.
Yeah.
With what I want FTI to be, what I wanted FTI to be, because like, don't get me wrong. You, Artie, Grayson, Entity, Timmy, Geek, just everybody that was helping doing the week to week with me, even Will, like we did try our best, but it was just so hard to take that next step if we weren't we weren't flowing together. And I think that's where like my burnout and my anxiety stemmed from, was because like I know in my head where I wanted this to go. I know in my head that like this is what I want to do next. I want to do like those like face to video reels and TikToks, and like when you run an independent artist crew collaborative, like you always have to think about what's going to make people care about that creator you're talking about.
Yeah.
And like newsletters, the format of newsletters just got very stale. Good morning, like nobody was tuning into good mornings after the creator of the week, and I genuinely don't know if the creator of the week really stuck around to see what was on the schedule. So I felt like what we were doing for creators, we could have found a better way to approach it.
Yeah.
And by us thinking of, okay, how can we change this? How can we evolve this? We just weren't on the same page. And when it came time to all try to get together as a group, like the three main things was life, time, and we just did not like what each other were pitching.
Yeah.
So when I mix all of that together, like life and time when you're an adult, like I know it's like the good old saying, like
really
it's just
hard.
it's so hard. And then on top of that, you're running like this collective for free nonetheless, where you're trying to make every single independent creator, artist, content creator, just whoever's in FTI, we always try to make feel special.
Yeah.
And at the core, if it started feeling like a job for me, I can only imagine how it felt like when I was pitching these ideas to you guys, like, hey, we should try this, we should try this. And when we're met with no's or I don't want to do that, it's just we're producing the same thing and we're not going to see the results we want to see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because I know, like, when you would pitch me an idea, obviously I would always love it because it is amazing ideas. And I remember we used to always kind of go back and forth, brainstorm a lot. And I do understand what you mean by it's really hard. We're trying to aid in the creators because we're trying to help the creators grow. But it's kind of hard to grow the community, or kind of grow the brand FTI itself while doing that same thing. Because again, I know the big thing we talked about was like the newsletters and stuff like that. With it being a virtual show, it's hard to have people sit down and read the entire thing, much rather than a face-to-face, which is what the community catch-up turned into.
Yeah. And I just want to cut you off really quickly before this leaves my head. I feel like the community catch-up was like the first time in quite some time where you watched it from beginning to end, because not only were we rotating every week, like you could read our expression for how excited we are talking about of what you just missed. But tying in with that, I have a really good friend, honestly consider my brother, named Stefano. And Stefano and I had a conversation on Labor Day weekend, and like realistically at the same time, we literally said, this sounds so negative, I'm so sorry. We genuinely said, like, no one gives a shit what happened last week, because you're trying to throw 5 to 10 different artists when you should just be focusing on like one at a time instead of like overexposing 10.
Yeah, no, I do hear where you're coming from with that. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of hard because I know I was kind of always trying to pitch a new series of new things we can do, because it kind of always did seem like we were just rewinding. So we were doing, Good Morning With Me, which is kind of recapping the week, seeing what's to come. Community Catch-Up was recapping the last week. And that's why I really liked, certain series like the Sizzling Summer Series, the Royal Rumble, the In Your Studio podcast, because I feel like it really dived deep into not only every creator, but unique things that made people want to go on it, rather if they don't even know who the creator is. And in a way, if they don't care about who the creator was, there is always something that drives people to watch that video, like the Sizzling Summer Series.
It was absurd, and like I cannot emphasize how absurd it was seeing the In Your Studio podcast on so many people's Spotify Wraps. Like, it was crazy. Like LD, I have the screenshots, but like LD, and then I remember Donald sent me a message on Instagram, and he was like, if YouTube views count, I'd be up there. And I'm like, dude, you were number one. Like you were already at the notification bell for that thing to drop. And so like mentioning, well, I guess tying in what you just said, I feel like those series, since we were like following one creator, was a lot easier to consume. But holy fuck, like I could not imagine looking back being the consumer of what FTI is putting out. And it's like, okay, right now I'm learning about Bryce's, Mindy has a song, Wednesday has a song, Emerson Corleone has something coming out next week, Eero already, and it's just like, oh my God, like information overload. I don't have time to check all these people out. But we were just like doing that week after week after week. But on the positive side, like reflecting on this year, like this year alone, we celebrated 1,000 community members on Instagram. We launched the short-lived In Your Studio podcast. We celebrated FTI's 3rd anniversary with one of the coolest designs ever. That is still the Discord emblem.
Absolute beautiful. It's absolute beauty. That logo.
We hosted both the 2nd Persona Rumble and the 2nd Sizzling Summer Series. Good Morning celebrated its 1st year. We hit over 160 editions of the newsletter. So like, I know right now it sounds like we're focusing on like the reflecting of like what went wrong or what made the burnout happen. But I feel like the most important part of this right now is like everything we did.
There was, I was about to say, in a way, realistically, everything was amazing. everything was so great. It was the only downside was trying to keep it up. I was trying to keep at it. Was the only real downside of trying to do it.
Keep it engaging and keep it fun. Like I'm very like I guess in a way, I think what I loved the most about doing FTI was how much fun I had always keeping in the know with like you guys, like the group and everything. I think it's a fair statement to say like once we took a hiatus, like I was no longer keeping up with you guys. Like the conversations went from like 90% to 10%, or 100% to 10% rather. And so I did really lose a big part of my day to day, but it really let me step back and like actually enjoy life instead of like worrying like
that's the really important thing is unless you're happy doing it, there's no point in doing it. So I think it was a great idea to take a step back and kind of enjoy your life because, like you said, it was turning into a job, and like when you brought me into it and was trying to help out, it didn't seem a lot more. I don't want to say tiresome, but like kind of like weary, like, oh, we have to get this done. We have to get this done. I kind of saw a little bit of what you had to go through. I mind you, I was nowhere near as involved as you were with how I was doing things, but still, like, I saw how stressful you were in a way.
And in the summer, I remember Danielle and I remember I said to you like a million times, I was just like, man, like if I didn't have you for this year to do things, like this hiatus probably would have happened in like January, and then anything between January and August wouldn't have happened. So like where it stands right now and the conversation we had earlier, like I don't know. Like that's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
When I'm writing in my notepad, like the way I want to like tell people, because I feel like at the very least I want to like tell people like what's going through my mindset, because we were running for 3.5 years consistently,
which is insane.
Small breaks here and there, and just to like one day like you just say, okay, it's the end of September, they haven't posted anything. It's the end of October, they haven't posted anything.
It's the end of November, you haven't posted anything. Yeah.
Now it's the beginning of December, and I was just like I want to say something, but I've never been that person to like draw the attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah,
that looks like a YouTube apology thumbnail. I don't want it to look like that. But as I was mentioning to you before we recorded, like I've written so many like how I want to tell people what's going through my mind and everything, but like I could not sum it up in a 2-minute reel with a TikTok dance in the background. Like having the platform like this, like the platform you're providing me right now to talk about it, I feel like it's a lot easier because we can dive into like specific things if you're curious, and maybe like there's things to talk about that I didn't even know were going through my head until I say it out loud, because there's already been a few. But like I just overall my headspace right now is confused and I don't know the actual next big step.
No, I completely understand that. Yeah, but I mean, realistically, because I know you said that you want to take. Is this officially the end? Because I know you kind of played around with this idea. Is this still an indefinite step back, or do you think this is the official, farewell?
Where it stands right now, and the process has been flip-flopped, is October. I thought it was no more. November, I came to terms that I thought it was no more. I was kind of in like a very like miserable mindset because well, there's gonna be a lot of breaks in this one, ain't there? I don't know, because like when you invest your heart and your soul and your time and you make so many connections, and like the word I'm emphasizing again here is like free, and like you're finding all these resources, you're helping other people, you're getting millions of positive messages about how you're helping so many creators. Like there's something to be said about that. And for me to like be ignorant and just say, yeah, we're done, show's over, thanks for coming, I feel like it's not fair to the creators more than it's not fair to me, because for me personally, I look at this as my child, of course, and I look at this as like what I need to do in life, because I remember I said on the last podcast, and I think it was July or August last year when you had me on, I was like, my buddy Dalton said, who you are as a person is what you're going to do with the rest of your life. So although FTI hasn't been the last 4 months of my life, I've still been doing FTIs, like I guess attributes. Like,
Yeah, because I mean,
still
I see you're still active on Instagram. You're still active on all these other social media platforms. You're still active on the Discord server. So it is kind of in a way weird to see if it is, you know, an indefinite pause or a full stop for the actual brand itself.
Something I realized the other day, more specifically Thursday and Friday, was Thursday. Average James dropped his new album, Infinite Us, and it is a tremendous album. It's so nice. It's so easy. It's an easy listen. It's a very vulnerable, personal project where Average James invites you in, and like just like it's such an incredible album. I cannot suggest it enough. But if we are running FTI, that would have had a story template. That would have had a preview. That would have been in a newsletter. Friday, Sunroof on the Trojan Horse came out by C Stone and Emerson Corleone. Another amazing project, very hard, gritty rap. It's amazing. It's a project that, like, I don't go out of my way to listen to that kind of rap, but I enjoy C Stone and Emerson, so I could do it. But just like I said about Average James, if FTI was still running right now, we would have had a story promo for it. It would have been in whatever we're doing FTI. So for me to post it on my Matt Ryder Instagram story and
it would seem very weird.
Yeah, there's a community where when Wednesday, Average James, Mindy, etc., do whatever, they could always count on FTI posting it on their story. And you have all these artists that don't necessarily have a platform to post it on other than their platform and the friends in their circle.
Yeah.
So what I said earlier about 2 minutes ago was like, I feel like it's more selfish for me to stop because I want to still help creators. That's like my ever running circle is what I call it, because like I see all the positives, but I also don't want to come back and do exactly what we were doing.
Yeah. And I mean, like, to cut you off, I do understand, like, FTI is amazing. I've always said that since the very first day I was kind of brought in as a fan to the community, that it's not only extremely helpful to all creators, it was very helpful to me when I was Creator of the Week, when I was featured as a host for Sizzle and Summer Series, a host for the introductions for the Rumbles, all this different stuff. I was even in the podcast. It's amazing to see all the good things it could do, but looking at your situation, I do completely understand, because you do see it as a job. Again, when I was kind of brought in to help out a little bit, I saw a glimpse at what you had to go through and all the stress, and I don't say stress, but like the amount of work you had to put into it. Like you said, it is a free community. It is everything about it's free, so you just work for all that for free, and it is very tiresome. So I completely understand on both sides, kind of where you're coming from.
And before I went to bed last night, I said to Danielle, I was just like, well, think about it this way. If FTI did come to an end, it could technically go from one Matt to another Matt. Because I was like, it could go from this Matt to MegaMatt.
Because, I mean, realistically, the FTI can, in a way, never end because of it is just one big community. Now, I mean, like, I'm watching Geek stuff all the time. I think out of everybody in the community, Geek's my favorite creator. Geek's fucking awesome.
Yeah. The man is like unreal, like with how consistent he is.
Yeah.
He has so many ideas left, right, and center. Right now he's doing his everyday video on YouTube. Like, Geek for sure, man. I double what you just said there. Like, man's passionate, he loves what he does, and you can just see like not only his growth, but like his love for what he does.
His passion in it, yeah. I mean, like, have you seen his new setup, bro? His new setup is clean as fuck.
He has the Universal Championship right behind him.
It's insane. It's insane. Oh my god. And I mean, like, overall, like, even with Bryceus, connecting with her on Twitter and seeing all this kind of stuff, I've been able to connect with all these different creators, and that's all through the FTI. And in a way, now that can never end, because we're always, you know, sharing each other's stuff, we're always watching each other's content. What do you think about, like, future projects? Because I know originally you had the clothing line, and then you moved into FTI. Would there be anything you would want to move into and do next after that?
So right now, my head is bouncing between 3 ideas. One already has its wheels in motion, and I spoke to the group that I'm doing this with. I was like, hey guys, like, do you mind if I like mention this? And then they sarcastically said no, but they wholeheartedly they meant go for it. So there's a group of the 4 of us. It's me, my buddy Stefano, Average James, and a friend of ours named Noah. and we're creating this group called Sound Shelter. And what Sound Shelter does is we're going to invite bands into our little cozy cabin we have, and we're going to record like a intimate session of that band recording. So like the best thing to think about for a comparison is like the Tiny Desk concerts. So like bands will essentially come into our cabin. We have the drum set, we have the microphone, we have the guitar, and they're just gonna like play like maybe 3 to 5 songs. But we're also gonna double that and hopefully get like a little intimate conversation out of it.
Yeah.
Not so much an interview, but more so like a sit down. Like when I think about what I want this conversation to be, like I kind of want to strip away the artist and more so focus on the person.
Yeah.
So
the man who does not stop working, bro. Going straight from this into FTI into this. Holy
like,
shit.
And like I really hope he checks this out. Like Hunter, Noah, and I like say it a lot. Like Stefano is the reason Sound Shelter even has an idea, because Stefano is a big photographer in my local area, like where I live.
Yeah.
So he makes all these band connections. Like he knows all these people. He travels like the Southern Ontario region. So originally him and I were gonna do a session under the FTI umbrella for the Strats, because we went to the Strats show back in September and we recorded the Strats, and like we pitched this idea that like we want to get together and record an interview with them. We were going to post it under the FTI umbrella. And then I kind of have my information incorrect because I can't remember it all right now. But essentially this interview-esque idea we had with the Strats quickly turned into putting it under its own entity, no pun intended, and sort of build something out of that, because instead of focusing on the millions different types of art and content, Stefano and I agreed, and so did Hunter and Noah, that we should specifically focus on musicians.
Yeah.
It does dwindle it down, but it makes it a lot easier for you to understand what we do. And the name Sound Shelter is just, you can picture like Sound Shelter, okay, 2 and 2 together, it's probably for musicians.
Yeah.
So that's what we have going right now. There hasn't been like anything too crazy from it. We have our location, we have our ideas, but since like we want to bring bands in and record intimate sessions with them and have them like have something to show when they like go to apply for concerts, festivals, like we want to bring the whole package and look professional from session 1 all the way to session 100. So we're taking this baby steps because we want to make sure we have all the questions answered, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, of course you're going to grow over time, but like we don't want anything to stick out as a sore thumb on session 1. We just want to evolve. And my second idea I have going right now is...
Before you get into the second one.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You are
man.
legitimately the man that does not stop working, that does not stop, and I'm going to say does not stop creating in a way, because that is phenomenal what you're doing. And you already have basically, you already have everything laid out, which is insane. And that's how you know it's going to be successful. It's going to be a success at what you're going to do.
I appreciate you.
Everything you do, I see, is just a complete success, which is insane.
Thank you, man. My face is red because I can tell it's very hot. No, but like, I think the last 3 months has legitimately been like the calmest day-to-days I've had in quite some time. But like, I will not lie to you, man. They are so boring because I feel like I'm just going to work, coming home, trying to get Peter Griffin on Fortnite, play a little bit of Mario Kart, and go to bed. Like, I think I'm too hard on myself to the point where I always feel like I need to be doing something big every day. So when Sound Shelter eventually gets its wheels going and like we have like tangible content for people to like consume, I'll be like, okay, that's amazing. The second thing that I've been wanting to do, but right now I don't know if MegaMatt, when I tell you that I think I'm a 50-year-old, 24-year-old, my guy. Let me talk to you. So what I want to ultimately do is like just make fun TikToks and reels where like I talk about shit that I love. For example, like I want to make people nostalgic about video games that like Hey, what's a video game that was so nostalgic to you that when you went back to it, you're like, oh, I wish that stayed a memory because we're playing it now suck. Or like, let me talk to you about why I love wrestling. Do you remember this? Do you remember that?
And
I
this
just
would
want to make
be
those
like Matt Ryder
me.
content.
Yeah.
Well, because I remember on
And
the
I've
last
never,
podcast we talked, and I kind of asked you, would there ever be a chance for Matt Ryder content? And you said, hell no.
yeah. And so the reason I'm battling that is because because I have the scripts written out. Like I already have them all written out. I have about 12 sessions, but like I just don't know like when that age gap stops to like where you shouldn't record these kind of videos.
Who gives
Maybe
a
it's
shit?
that,
Just do
that's my
you.
thing. Because like, dude, like when I tell you these scripts are like, do you remember Habbo Hotel? And like we just like talk about why I love Habbo Hotel was as a kid, and then my girlfriend Danielle was like, oh, I can totally see you doing this. I can totally see you doing this. And so right now we're trying to build me like a little corner where I can record myself.
Yeah.
But man, like I could just not imagine one of my coworkers are just scrolling up on TikTok on a lunch break and they just see their coworker in the back who's an iPhone surgeon just going like, do you know X, Y, and Z? Do you watch wrestling? So that's my second idea. That one would be for fun. And then my third one is I wholeheartedly have not let go of FTI because I just don't feel like it's gone.
Yeah.
I feel like in September, October, when I told you guys it was done, it was probably just like the burnout,
like a fluke
like
thing,
me.
yeah.
Yeah. So like I've never like pen to paper, finger to tweet said like thank you guys. So I don't know. The first two was where
you want to leave that door open just in case.
of course. And I was telling Stefano because I was like, hey Steph, like, do you think it would be appropriate if I made a video, or do you think it'd be attention seeking if I made a video explaining it? And he said no. He said that's probably the best thing you can do because you can just tell people what's going on, and you don't have to make it a this is a goodbye forever. This is only a goodbye for now. Similar to what Jeff Hardy said in 2009 when he lost the steel cage match and had to leave WWE. But anyways, yeah, that's where my mind is at right now with it all. I will say though, and I can't stress this enough, although we're talking about what my ideas are and like where FTI stands with me, I need to hit home that like without people like you, Entity, Grayson, Artie, and all of them, like the last 3.5 years wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah.
Because sure, I was the person like doing all the editing and putting the scripts together and making the ideas, but like I wasn't the face or I wasn't the voice for all of these projects. For example, the day we're recording, December 10th, 2 years ago today, FTI's first collaborative album, Welcome Inside, came out on SoundCloud and YouTube.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me about. Because I remember you telling me about that on the last podcast. Because I wasn't there yet, right? I don't think I was there yet.
That was like 6-ish months later.
Okay.
Than when you joined.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting here playing Fortnite, of course, because I'm a 24-year-old man.
That's all. Oh my god, that's all I've been doing. It's insane,
dude. I need Peter Griffin.
I've been doing that, but I've been doing a lot of the Lego Fortnite because that gives you stupid levels. I'm almost level 60 now.
Oh man, I'm level 12.
Dude, just go into Lego Fortnite and go back to the lobby. It gives you an instant level.
Sir, I didn't know this. What was I saying? Damn, what was I saying?
Well, now I feel like an asshole because I don't remember.
But going on to something that's really important to me is if FTI does come back, I feel like it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot less than what it was.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a lot more rich. Like it's going to be more. It's going to be more digestible. Is the big one. It's going to make a lot more sense, and we're not going to do as much as we were doing because we were doing quantity over quality. And in my head, I thought quantity and quality were equal. But looking back on it, you can definitely tell it was quantity of what we were producing versus the quality.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like that also goes into a factor of how, in a way, social media is being affected right now because, without a doubt, it used to be quantity over quality. You know, we got the daily vloggers, all this other stuff. But right now, on the time, it has to be the most quality content, or no one's even gonna watch it.
Yeah. And I think something big that I am going to do, if it inevitably comes back, because the more I talk about it with you, the more I'm open to the idea.
Oh, that's what I'm trying to do. I have some more stuff I want to talk about. I'm trying to get it to stay.
So if it does come back, I feel like I'm going to be more involved face to video.
Yeah.
And I realistically think that, like, Entity, Artie, and Grayson, and Timmy, and you would be involved on where it lines up instead of having to sell or pitch an idea for it to line up. So you can interpret that so many ways, and the way I worded it sounds very negative. But what I essentially mean by that is I'm not going to pitch an idea, or we're not going to put an idea on the table unless you're 200% sold and committed to the idea.
Yeah.
Of course, like, I pitch an idea, you said, let's add this, we take out that. But for example, face to video is going to be the number one thing I want going forward for all of it. And say there's somebody in our circle that says, I don't want to do this, then it's either we're just going to find something else to do together, or we're going to revisit this idea way later down the line.
Yeah.
Because that's where the stress ultimately came from, was, okay, X doesn't want to do this idea, so now this idea I know would make us grow, but now we just have it on the back burner.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm going to do it a lot more so on how I envisioned it, with the help from you guys, as opposed to always having to put things on the back burner and just get myself more stressed out.
Yeah. Well, because I mean,
I could have worded that way better.
No, it's all good. Well, because I mean, I completely understand what you mean. Because, well, one, like we said, the long scripted video, like, I don't say the scripted videos, but the long video scripts, in a way, are the ones like the Good Morning FTI, the ones with, you have to read the 10 paragraphs. That was obviously a lot harder to digest as a viewer.
Yeah.
So I mean, because the biggest series, the biggest ups in the FTI were the different series. Sizzle and Summer series, amazing. Both season 1 and season 2. And I kind of want to dive a little bit into that also, because of how you were talking about, you have to make sure you're 200% available and ready to do that and okay with doing it. Because I remember there was the big downside with season 2 of, we had like, how many people did we have? We had like 10 or 20 people that were set to do it. And at the end of the day, there was like, what, 3 or 4 that did it at the end?
What really made me sour about that was we essentially pitched the idea, and I could be entirely wrong. I think we pitched the idea in May.
I know, because that was the big thing that I kind of tried, in a way that we kind of fought on, in a way. I do remember this specifically, is because I wanted to kind of have everything set. I wanted to film everything first, and then upload them all, once a week. But we were kind of at the stage when, so we have one person cooked and filmed. Okay, let's film the hosting part. Okay, now it's immediately uploaded. Okay, now the next week, now we have to wait for this next person to film his part, so that we can film the hosting part, so that we can edit it and then put it out. I think that was also very much a downside to it.
It almost equaled season 1 in exactly what you just said there, and I entirely understand the people who just said, like, actually, my time frame doesn't work out right now. I can't do this right now. It's just not working for me. But it just quickly made me realize, okay, this is just added on to the pile of reasons why I need to take a step back, because we advertise one idea and we produce something entirely different.
Yeah.
And somebody I spoke to said, we love the idea. Amazing idea. The seasons were great. They liked season 1 more, but they just said, like, I don't want to watch a Twitch streamer cook because I don't know who this Twitch streamer is. And at first I didn't understand what they said, because in my head I was just like, hey, it's just a little fun thing we're doing. But at the same time, I do understand where they're coming from. Like, if they don't want to see a Twitch streamer cook because they don't know the Twitch streamer, you can just apply that mindset to probably so many more other people who watched it. Like, for example, Colin, Dylan, and I didn't do one this year. And that was like, if anything, for certain one that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, like if we do rebuild and we do get to kind of come back with a like FTI in 2024 or whenever, I want to make sure not only are the ideas way planned out in advance, but everything has a fallback
Yeah.
or everything makes sense instead of just like hoping like you get somebody's word and you just hope to God they're going to have something in your inbox by the night that they say they're going to have it there.
Yeah. I mean, because, well, one thing is obviously short form content is absolutely the number one thing right now. But I do think that one thing that kind of drove me a little bit, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I think I'll skip this, good morning. I think I'll skip this episode, is because I'm more of a fan of long form content. And like you were saying, that nobody cares about this Twitch streamer, cooking something. If we did something like long form version, when they would kind of be interviewed while they're cooking, so that not only do you get to know what they're cooking, you get to follow along with what they're cooking, but you also get to follow along with them and know them a lot more.
I think you summed it up perfectly. And the person I spoke to about that, like you legitimately just summed up our conversation. It was like, okay, if like they're cooking something, we should really be breaking down who they are at the same time.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably the best way to approach it instead of just hoping like you want to see somebody just cook and not know anything about it. And just the presentation just wasn't there this year. Like the how I wanted season 2 to look, just it wasn't there.
Yeah.
No fault to the people who were part of it. I just feel like I thought I had a lot more skills with editing than I did when going to publish.
Yeah.
And I just want to quickly say it is mostly a joke, but it's also 100% the truth. The last time I've had to read a text on a reel or a TikTok was the last day FTI published something, because I have not read anything on a video, man. That tells you how much we needed so badly to evolve
to change things up. Yeah.
Because the last time I read any paragraph on text was a fucking newsletter way back in August, and it's December 10th.
Okay, yeah. I mean, but then again, we also have, we have the Sizzle and Summer series. In a way, right now, I'm kind of rewinding the FTI a little bit. So obviously we had the Sizzle and Summer series, season 1 and season 2. But I want to dive a little bit more deep into, the Royal Rumble, because that's something that not only do you love in your personal life with wrestling, but I think that was a huge success because it was streamed live on Twitch, the Royal Rumble. So kind of in a way, would you ever, even if the FTI doesn't come back, would you ever do something like that again? Because in a way, that wasn't even really a face-to-face thing. That was kind of a really fun thing that any viewer could even have gotten involved on.
My good buddy Matt. Oh, dude, all my good friends' names are Matt. My good friend named Matt. That was his introduction to FTI. Was this year's Persona Rumble. So right now, because I really want to do a third one, like so bad. Like I rewatched almost all the content that we produced, like all the big series. But the Royal Rumble, I just could not stop watching because of how great it was. I almost fucking won. Won. They were so much fun, and
I remember being there on stream watching it and just seeing the chat explode. I remember going on Geek stream watching his reaction, going in Eero stream watching his reaction, both of them hyping it up so much. I was like, this is amazing. Yeah. This is fucking amazing.
And maybe it's something I'm not thinking about right now because I don't know how to do it, but I would really love to do a third one. But I just feel like if we did a third one in January, say, we would need to be back. Yeah. It would really be hard to say we're doing a Rumble, but we're not doing our regular week to week operations. No, but the Persona Rumble is the one that hangs out on my shoulders 7 days a week, and so is the Christmas video, man. I really want to do another Happy Holidays video. Yeah. And I feel like that one's easier to pull off because
I feel like we could technically still do it as because again, with the fate of FTI still up in the air and us not saying whether or not it's coming back for sure or leaving for good for sure, I feel like we could still definitely do a Happy Holidays type thing and just kind of see who would all do it in the community.
Yeah. And like, if to be honest with you, like I honestly might hit up some people in the community saying, "Hey, although FTI is on this hiatus right now, I would really like to do a Happy Holidays video." So I might actually go ahead and pursue that, because that would
Yeah.
be really fun. But man, like I love what you're thinking. Like Persona Rumble, like it's been on my mind every day. Like I'm like, it's January next month. Persona Rumble is like when Entity and I just like lose our absolute lid. Let me tell you, when Dylan won this year, I think I've said it a million times already, my most genuine reaction, because he's like one of my greatest friends in real life, and knowing like Dylan won it, and my reaction was like, "No, what do you mean?" Like I want that feeling again for like the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one. So if we can figure out a way for it to come back, hell yeah. But even if it has to be a little bit later in the year, which to a wrestling fan wouldn't make sense, we'll definitely find that opportunity, because I do
Yeah.
agree it does need to come back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, overall, I do think that the FTI was not only an amazing thing, but the FTI not only has changed all of us as creators, but you specifically has changed all of us, specifically me as a creator. So I just want to say, on behalf of everything, thank you, not only for the
Oh
FTI,
man,
but for you
oh
being
man,
you.
oh man, I miss you guys so much, and I appreciate you so much, man. So I'm gonna rub my face here a million times so my cheeks don't go red. But I really appreciate you, man. I again, before we came on here, like I literally said, like, thank you for giving me the platform. But like truly, because I don't know how to like say, hey, MegaMatt, can I self-invite myself on to Kicking Back so I can like talk about it? But like you were down so fast.
Yeah.
And
Well,
although
because one, as a fan of the FTI as well, I obviously wanted to know what's kind of going on right now. But two, I just love sitting down and chatting with you, bro. Seriously, it's
well,
amazing.
it's such a great time. I remember in the summer and like in June, what was it, July, you Geek and I were in that chat. I'm like, I'm going to bed in a
Oh
half an
my
hour.
god.
Four
No,
hours
I think
later,
I'm about
bro.
to say, yeah, no, it was a long time. And I remember you left and me and Geek just stayed and we talked for even longer. Then I think you came
Yeah,
back in and you're like, what are you
I
guys
did.
still doing?
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. I this year I really was trying to figure out all the answers to things I didn't need to know the answers to yet. Like, and I mean that like every aspect of life. Like for whatever reason, bro. Like when I tell you I'm like a 50-year-old, 24-year-old, I'm like my career needs to launch tomorrow. I need to have the answer for this. I need to know what I'm doing next week. And now that I've like been able to take a step back, like I can tell like my body language is a lot quieter. I'm a lot more. I've de-stressed. Like everything is so much
You've grown a
nicer and
beard.
so much. Dude, let me tell you. So, okay, I'm just gonna call her out. I have this because Danielle said she liked it. Okay, and I don't like my facial hair in photos. Okay, so we're sitting on the couch yesterday watching NXT Deadline, and she's like, "I didn't miss you without a facial hair." And my genuine reaction was like, "I did this for you." So I don't know. Like I'm used to it now, but like this whole thing going on,
No,
I
that's exactly
originally
how it is for me because I want to grow a full beard so bad, at least like a scruff, and it's so
yeah
hard for me too. But like when I shave it, I just look so odd, and then I get used to myself
yeah.
looking like that, and then I grow a beard again. I'm like, whoa.
Well, man, the crazy thing was I was Mario this year for Halloween, and Danielle was Luigi. And 2 days before, I had my own mustache, and then I shave, and I'm like, oh,
Oh, but now I need a new mustache.
yeah. So I put one on my face. It falls off after taking a swig of beer, and I said, okay, I'm bootleg Mario for sure now. Pretty cool costume. It's no mustache.
Well, is there anything else you kind of want to talk about before we kind of go and wrap things up? Anything else you want to kind of discuss with us
On it,
regarding the future of the FTI?
honestly, man, like I think what I selfishly want the most out of this conversation is, if there is people listening to this, like I would love to hear what people not only think of FTI, because I'm finally in that realm of accepting compliments, because I've always pushed them off. I always said no, no, no. This is about you. This is about you. But I really want to know what should be next, on what would make people engage,
Yeah.
because although we had so many incredible milestones and we've done so much this year, I really feel like if we have to evolve, we truly have to make the comeback look so much different than what everybody was used to. I I love experimenting. I love doing experimental shit, but like there needs to be a rhyme and a reason instead of saying, well, hopefully it sticks.
Yeah.
So
would basically I keep saying if FTI does come back, would you, in a way, because I know you just kind of said that, but would you completely evolve or change how things are going and the type of content that's kind of coming out? Because I know you said you want to do more of like your face-to-face type stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think it would. I wholeheartedly think the newsletters, it would probably end. I think Good Morning would end. And I think the community catch up would end, but that idea could definitely like translate into something better and something more digestible. So
like, would you primarily stick with short form content, or would you kind of evolve more into long form plus the short form content, obviously?
I think realistically I would do both, but Stefano had a really fantastic idea. Like if we were before Sound Shelter was an idea, Stefano and I were talking about dedicating the Instagram story to everybody, but our posts on the main wall do not need to be week by week basis. They go to when we actually have something to show.
Yeah.
So instead of overwhelming you with like What to Do Now by Mindy and Clovers a million times a week on an Instagram story, and then your next thing you're tapping is now go to our main page for an Instagram post. I think the more healthy, digestible, and more relaxed way is leaving the Instagram story for everybody who wants to say they're going live, they have a new music out, and we don't post 3 times a week on the wall. We post when we actually have something to post.
Yeah. I know one thing. Sorry, what's up?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
So the one thing I kind of always saw, which is the one thing that kind of drove me a little bit away from Good Morning, was of how just repetitive it was. Because it was the same.
Yeah.
Because like going into, oh, here's what's coming up this week on the FTI. It was the exact same thing, you know, a geek stream, this type of video, this song, this stream or whatever. And it was just that every single time, mixed with the same kind of format every single time. So kind of got it repetitive in a way. So it would be nice to see change that way as well.
Wholeheartedly, FTI just became repetitive, and like it's really great when your brand is known for something, and like it took about 3 years for like the majority of people to understand what like FTI is actually all about. But realistically, it needs to be a lot more digestible. It does not need to be on a week by week basis unless you actually have things to post on a week by week basis.
Yeah,
and it just needs to be fun again. I was joking around with my friends, and I literally said FTI was born and died before CM Punk came back to WWE, because CM Punk came back to WWE last month.
I do know that. Yeah,
after a 9-year hiatus.
The only reason I know CM Punk is from Heels.
Dude, oh my god! Let me tell you, I'm sitting here. I'm like to my girlfriend, I'm like, I'll propose to you tonight if CM Punk comes back, because I was so certain he was not coming back. And then I'm sitting here, they do like the end of show logo, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and I forget who the 5th man on that team was. Anyways, I'm just sitting here, and then and my jaw just dropped, no expression. And I said, this is the best day of my life. And I kept saying, this is the best day of my life. And then on Raw, they made us wait till like 10:55 for him to come out. And he talked for 3 minutes, and it was the end of show logo. And I just said, this is the worst day of my life. He only talked for 3 minutes. But going back to like the FTI side of the whole thing, I love how we got into CM Punk was, I am very open to figuring out how to bring it back, but I just won't bring it back if we're going to
until or if everything's kind of in order first.
Of course.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I didn't know how to approach you guys in the FTI crew Discord. Like, hey, guys, I want to take this over, and like I want to do what's best for me to do this, because I know everybody would understand. It did not sit with me with saying to you guys like I want to take over. But I'm sure if I wholeheartedly said this is what I'm doing, you guys would not only support it, I think you guys would be a lot more invested in it, watching it from a consumer standpoint instead of a producer standpoint.
Oh yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, every series you come up with is not only a hit realistically, if you look at it, but just an overall amazing idea. And so I think like something like that you need to do a lot more of. It's like stick to your guns. Like all the ideas of, you know, the personal stuff you want to do, like the Music Shack, like the actual personal kind of content that you were talking about.
Yeah.
All amazing ideas if you really look at it.
And that TikTok, Instagram thing I want to do, like where I talk about things that like I enjoy, like I love. I feel like that idea right there, I could maybe like once a week, once every 2 weeks, talk about somebody from the community, but I can sell you on them by my facial expression instead of selling you by the big words we're using in a paragraph that you have to read.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you already know basically everything that you can do to kind of bring it back.
Yeah.
Would you bring it back?
I genuinely
I'm trying to get that clip. Trying to get that clip.
Yeah.
Would you bring it back?
I genuinely would if it made sense.
Yeah.
And
that's all that matters. If it does make sense to you, and if you're going to enjoy it at the end of the day. Because if you're not going to enjoy it, then what the hell is the point in doing it? That's with anything you do.
That's with anything you do. And like, I don't know if I already like touched on this like way earlier in the conversation, but like, I purposely invested so much time in FTI because I really felt like there needed to be a voice for all the creators who were like, such as yourself, dedicating hours on Premiere Pro and like sketching up ideas and like producing clothing. And like, for example, like couch, let me just quickly show this off actually. I'm so sorry to show everybody this, but I really have to show everybody this. So FTI in September was going to bring back the artist giveaway, and this was the first
sick.
thing.
That is sick. Is that a canvas?
So cool.
Is that a canvas painting?
It's a whole canvas, sir.
That is so sick.
Dylan Lorman is a fucking mastermind, and I'll tell him that 366 days a year. So this canvas was going to be a part of FTI's September artist community the artist community giveaway was coming back. Dylan prepared a video. We had our terms and conditions ready. We had it all going. And then in November for Black Friday, he launched a Black Friday sale. So I bought like the Halloween shirt that I'm wearing right now. Because typically the sweaters I wear for podcasts is that blue one that I've probably worn literally every video. So he's like, hey man, I'll just ship you this too. And I got it. And I selfishly said, I'm so glad we didn't give that away because having this in my room,
that is so sick though.
I love it. But like to go back to what you said, like I would, but it has to make sense and it just has to be fun again.
Yeah. That again, at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, FTI out of the way, kind of all the stuff you said, you kind of talked about out of the way, like the Song Shack, the personal content. What's next? Not for KapaaMatthias, but for Matt Ryder. What's next for you?
Well, right now we gotta go make our coffee because I haven't had my coffee yet today. But after I have my 6:30 coffee, I think the next big thing is teaching myself that it's okay to not need to figure out something to do every day. And then it's so cliche and so cheesy, but like things will fall into place. You just gotta let them instead of forcing them to happen. So what's next for me personally is taking more time to let things happen and see where it takes me. I feel like that's how like all these podcasts end with like just like any podcast, any interview ever. It's like, I'll just let the road take me where it has to take me. But it's so true. And hopefully in January, I'm like, hey, MegaMatt, this is what's going on. This is the idea. Are you ready? And then we just take over 2024,
yes,
just like how we began this year. Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, because on any aspect, whether it's FTI, whether it's helping you with your own personal content, with anything, even just to bullshit, just talk, even just to play Fortnite, try to get Peter Griffin, both of us. Let's do it. I'm always 1,000% down.
I'm so down, and that's how it has to be. Like I owe like you, Geek, and so many people an apology because like we were so tight and like we were talking every day, and then like I go offline, I start being on the internet less, and then I'm just like, oh my God, like my whole online friend group for some reason ended when FTI took a hiatus. So like we gotta get back there, man. Like we gotta start doing this again.
Well, KapaaMatthias, Matt Ryder, thank you so much for kicking back with me today. Thank you so much for being able to express, your feelings and everything you have going on with me as well. That's very, very important. Is there anything that you want to say to finish things off? Anywhere you want people to follow you, to check you out at? This is your time to shine. Just let it all loose.
I want to hit on 5 things, and the 5th one is most important. I would love it if everybody here checked out 3 new projects. One is Infinite Us by Average James. When I tell you it's such a soft, I like using the word powerful to describe his music. It's so soft, it's very powerful, and it's a very easy listen. Like, something I love about music artists is when like they're so vulnerable that through their music you kind of like can step into their shoes. So if that's the kind of music, please check out Infinite Us by Average James. Sunroof on the Trojan Horse by C Stone and Emerson Corleone. Check it out. I know Donald already messaged me. He loves Emerson's music. Him and Emerson shipped him a cassette of Inner Moonlight.
Oh,
so
sick.
Be like, dude, so awesome. Be like Donald. Go check out Emerson Corleone, C Stone, especially their new project, Sunroof on the Trojan Horse. Number 3, Wednesday Flixo came back with a new track, D1 Hater. Please also check that out. I don't even need to tell you guys on Wednesday. If you guys know FTI, you know Wednesday. Number 4, watch the Persona Rumble next January, February, March, whenever we do it, because
it's gonna be the greatest piece of content ever.
And number 5, yeah.
I'm telling you, the Persona Rumble was fucking amazing. I could not stop watching it. So please go check that out when the new one comes out. Really stay tuned.
I'm watching them both tonight. And number 5, I cannot hit this more home than I will try. Please check out MegaMatt.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, but it is so true. Like, the quality of your content, how open you are, how you allowed me to come onto your platform to talk about what's going through my mind, and this was such an easier conversation than I anticipated. I feel like you deserve endless flowers, and I would really love if people took, honestly, an hour, 2 hours to check out all your forms of content and then just join the MegaMatt Studios train, because
now you're making me blush.
Amazing. But that is it.
Well, once again, thank you so much, Matt, for kicking back with me today. Thank you guys at home for listening, watching, viewing, and subscribing. We love you guys to death. Go check out everything we talked about in the description box below. We love you guys to death, and don't forget, stay green.
Pocket.com